Testing, testing. What's going on? How's everybody doing? I'm waiting for the confirmation on the other side that we are good to go. I should probably tweet this out. Oh, I already sent the message. That's I guess it's ready for me. It's ready for me, but are you ready? Are you really ready? I can't tell. I don't see anybody in here. I don't think anybody but is prepared for this whatsoever. But I told people. I'll refresh that page. We do have someone in here. Hello, Nathan. Good to see you. I think you may be the first person in here. There are people yelling outside of my window right now. This is the soft opening. Everybody able to hear me just fine? Give me a hell yes or a hell no. We're going to get started here in a moment or so. So we do have some things to talk about. More specifically, we want to talk about what's going to happen this week, considering there is a lot coming out. I mean a lot. The docket that I had for the 21st of August was pretty big. There was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there was 8 in total that I wanted to cover, wanted to get to, and I got to 6 of them. Yeah, this is bigger. We'll give some folks the opportunity to get in. I see that we have 12 already. We're going to give it a little bit more time. Thank you, by the way, to the folks that say hell yes, that you can hear me. That's great. So while we're waiting for a couple more people to get in, have you that are in the chat gotten the opportunity to watch the what if video that was posted earlier today? And I'll speak a little while I wait. I know there's a delay. Before I take in your feedback, I just want to let most of you know that that is not the format that I'm hoping that the series will remain at. I'm actually hoping that it will be a lot more, I don't want to say interactive, but there'll be a lot more going on visually as opposed to me just talking. So that was just sort of a test idea. I wanted to see how the general concept and the general idea would go through. And so far it seems to be doing all right. And I may be looking for the efforts of a producer in the future. Somebody that maybe would be able to comb over some of that stuff and make it a little bit more visual, because it really isn't so much an effort question on my side of the coin or anything like that. I don't have, see, the way in which I learn and process and create is very much within the constructs of language. And I have some general framework dreams in mind, but whenever it comes to actually putting that to reality, like taking the visualization in my skull and putting it into video form, it just doesn't happen. I don't even know where to start. I think it's more so poor planning, either that or just not being suave or savvy enough in the art itself to produce something that I think would not only be acceptable, but also something that wouldn't just frustrate the hell out of me in the process. Because if I'm frustrated while I do it, I'm not going to want to continue it. Either that, or I'm going to begin to loathe the process and just not want to continue making them. You guys are saying that it's pretty good. that one I felt was really, I don't want to say safe, but it was a great way to introduce everything. It's not one that gets too deep into things, because I don't think you see a lot change if Dimebag Darrell is still alive. And that sounds insulting, but it's just sort of the truth. I just think that what you instead get is Damage Plan continues onward, and we eventually get a Pantera reunion. And the only thing that's kind of up in the air is whether or not people start calling on Dime more to do like guest spots. And, I kind of threw in the whole concept of he and Zach Wilde starting a side project called Shredder, just sort of as a little, like more so as a joke, but at the same time, I could see it happen. I could definitely see that be a possibility, especially whenever you consider the relationships Zach Wilde has with some of the former members of Pantera, where for a long time there was a thought going around that Pantera would potentially be reuniting with Zach Wilde taking Dimebag Darrell's place. So I will probably, whenever I get into doing a lot more of those, which probably will be, it will be a little while before we see the next What If game come to fruition, come to be, because of all the different things that we have to talk about. Thank you very much. I'm sure you're looking fine as well. I'm speaking to a very, very fine individual right now on the phone. Oh, shit. And I can't type. This is so professional, by the way. But before the next one comes to life and comes to fruition, I'd really like to maybe pick the brain of a producer, either that or get a producer underneath my in my employ, I suppose, because it would be something that I would pay for. And I'm working on, in my head, what kind of rate I'd be willing to offer for something like that. It wouldn't be much. That's the kind of the bad part, unless the series really took off and became huge and led to a, just a huge shift in everything. But I'm ready to hear the new Down EP. I can't wait. Coming soon. Remember whenever the purple idea from Down was supposed to all come out within the same year? Remember whenever that whole idea first came out, it was like the way they promoted it was that we were getting the entire album in 4 different EPs, and they were going to be distributed throughout the course of a calendar year. And now here we've gotten 2 of them, I think, in the course of 4. It's crazy. It's pretty bad. But I am also excited about the new Down EP because the first 2 have both been pretty good. The first 2 have definitely sort of continued the legend, but I would really just love to hear another Down LP, a full length. This EP thing is kind of, it leaves you wanting more, which I guess is kind of the point, but by the end of this, it's going to be tiresome. It really is. And considering the delay between the releases, it's already started to become tiresome. So it's going to be pretty ridiculous. Rabbit, you're talking about this upcoming Friday. We have Scale the Summit and Tesseract, and asking about reviews. Well, we're actually going to talk about that. As you guys have probably saw whenever you came in, this is entitled CKN Live number 8. That's right, we are 8 in, unless I have miscounted, and this is actually number 9 or number 7 or number whatever. Who knows? This whole numbering scheme was something that I imagined would have been really, really fun whenever I started it, and now trying to remember numbers is stupid. It's a lot easier for me to do that with things such as favorite albums or 10 awesome songs, considering I have episode logs and all sorts of other fun stuff, but these I don't tend to notate at all, because what's the point? It's just me talking. What is that going to be? My notes? Just me talking. Of course, the last time that we did one of these, it was the first time that we ever got some sort of highlight from all of these. I'm going to make a bold proclamation here in just a moment whenever it comes to what this month has been like so far. Especially whenever it comes to my circle of friends. It really has seemed that September so far has been like, it has been the month where everything that looked like it was going to be solid forever, or every situation where people seemed happy, it just explodes. It really has. I've had multiple folks that have been sort of in long-term deals or have big moments coming up in their life, and it just has gone away, so to speak. Either that, or this has been the time frame whenever it is decided to sort of part company. There's been at least 3 or 4 different individuals that I'm relatively tight with. You know, we now live in some cases in other parts of the country. You know, we've known each other for long periods of time, and it just seems like it's been a pretty bad time for a lot of people. So I've been trying to support some folks while at the same time support myself with my studies and everything. I just came back from the middle part of West Virginia, where I did some training for my new job, which will be starting a week from, I think, either Monday or Tuesday. So a lot going on over here on this side of the coin. And then, of course, we get into this week, and we will now transition officially into that. Thank you to the individuals that are saying that you love the stuff. I'm glad to have you on board. I'm glad to have you guys here. I'm happy that you're in the stream, and happier even still that you're a subscriber, somebody who is a CKN fan. If you're not, and you happen to be in the stream due to some sort of error, or just because you recognize me from a Watch Mojo video, or some other person said, hey, that guy's a total dick, hit the subscribe button and see whether or not your friend is right, because he is, or she. If somebody says that I stole her homework and pissed on her dog, she's wrong. That never happened. Not yet. But anyway, this is a huge, huge week whenever it comes... Wait a minute. But this is a huge week whenever it comes to not only heavy metal but the hard rock and everything like that. There's a ton of albums that are coming out that are scheduled to be released on the 18th of September, which of course means that there's many things that we're going to be talking about throughout the course of the week. There are some that are already pre-planned to be early week contenders. There are others where the timetable is a little bit unclear as to when they're going to show up in the calendar. It is really becoming more so a question as to when some things happen to be acquired, when some things happen to be sent to me. Since I do get a lot of stuff via email, either that or in some cases through snail mail itself. And when it's going to be ready. There may be a couple of days this week where we're talking about multiple albums within the same day, and it can and will, I guarantee you, get a little bit frantic. And this is the reason why. This is the reason why. This was at one point a paper that was used for a schedule of mine for some physical therapy that I had done a little bit earlier this summer. But it has since turned into my massive planning board of doom, considering, I could just get a notebook, but why? Whenever I can just use the same piece of paper over and over and over damn again. And there are even gaps and holes on this for stuff that I didn't get a chance to talk about rather, that I wanted to. And there's going to be a whole video that's going to address all of those, because there are, in some cases, I've listened to the stuff. I just never got to review it. And then one project sort of took control, and there you go. Here we are. And these are just ones that I scribbled down as ones that I would love to talk about. There are others that are certainly out there. And there are those of you that are going to probably have other suggestions as well for this week. But here, just for shiggles, for September the 18th, we have Scale the Summit, their new album. We have Tesseract. We have The Black Dahlia Murder, Operation Mind Crime, My Dying Bride, and Annihilator. And that is all on the heavy metal front. And then I also have two additional ones within the heavy metal front that are more so just if I can get to them. Like, these are the ones that I'm willing to sacrifice if I don't get to them. And that's Juder, the black metal band, and Sacred Oath. And I probably ruined the black metal band's name 100% because I'm an American and we suck. So if you take a look there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 just in the metal realm. If you remember me talking earlier, the 21st of August, we had 8 on the docket, and I only got to 6. And that had a lot to do with availability and things like that. Some things that were meant to come to me did not come to me until late, and there you go. Now, we have to talk about the rock side, because there are releases on the rock side that definitely need to be talked about. There's a new Chris Cornell album coming out, and we know how much I'm a fan of Soundgarden, and I'm sure there are Soundgarden fans out there. And this is supposed to be much better than Scream, which was a just disaster piece. There's a new David Gilmour album coming out this week, which is very important now that Pink Floyd is gone. Of course, this will lead to the conversation of, hey, CKN, you should review Syd Barrett's pair of solo albums. You should review the Roger Waters solo discography. You should review David Gilmour's. Don't do that. I'm going to talk about this new David Gilmour, and that's going to be about it. If Roger Waters wants to drop a new solo album, I'll talk about that. I'm pretty much done whenever it comes to things like that for right now. We still have a Rush discography to finish up sometime in the future, and then we have to get into the Porcupine Tree discography, which, by the way, if you really want to count how many albums that there are for Porcupine Tree, it gets pretty ridiculous. And I also, as a bullshit bonus thing, I even said that I was going to talk about some of his solo or his side projects as well. A lot of work to do, but that also means that those downtime weeks or downtime days in the fall, and especially in the wintertime, whenever there seems to be nothing on the docket, we already know what's going on. So Chris Cornell, David Gilmour, Shinedown has a new album coming out. I know some of you are probably like, you could pass on that one. Not really. Not really. Shinedown's a band that I dig. It's actually one of the groups that have come from this new crop, similar to like Breaking Benjamin and the like, that are actually pretty darn good, talented vocalist. And the album could potentially maybe create some bane, because I have gotten a chance to sneak peek the track listing a little bit, and they all seem like they're all in that 3.5 minute, nice, safe, single range. And that troubles me a little bit, because I like bands that take a little bit more of a risk. And I feel that Shinedown's a band that has the capability to do just that, as opposed to just be rock stars and keep everything in that safe little zone. And then the one that I'm willing to sacrifice from the rock department. Oh, did I mention Atreyu? I hope I mentioned Atreyu, because you damn right we're going to talk about how bad that probably sucks. And then Bless the Fall. There's Bless the Fall as well. I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, Bless the Fall, here we go. This is going to be a shitload of fuck. Well, you know what? That's what some of you guys want. That's what some of you guys subscribe for. You subscribe to hear me go, God damn it, this album sucks a ball full of tinnies and some shit like that. I'm making up shit as I go during half of this garbage. And then I grab my phone. And I'm going for the total smooth shot right here. CKN equals hashtag smooth. Principally because most of what CKN says in texts and things like that are hashtag true. So there's really no difference between truth and smooth. There's no differentiation between pimpin' and truthin'. But it is, so if you didn't count along at home, that is 13 albums this week. That's a 1 and a 3. If you exclude the 3 that I am willing to sacrifice, that is 10 albums. That's a 1 and a 0. You put them together, and in binary, that's 2. The more you know. So it is going to be quite the busy week. Quite the busy week, to say the least. And it has the potential to have a little bit of everything in it. It has the potential for us to talk about some perennial contenders. We have the opportunity to see if Jeff Tate has become a better songwriter with the Operation Mindcrime stuff. Of course, we remember the Frequency Unknown disaster. We have the time and the opportunity to revisit Tesseract, who have gone through another lineup change. Atreyu been gone for a while, and of course, always kind of fun to poke fun at a band that just seems to want to do the same damn thing over and over again, though they might surprise us. I've had a couple of folks say that they've done some things that are a little different on the disc. And then we get to talk about great names. Chris Cornell, David Gilmour, the Black Dahlia Murder, of course. That album has been available forever. I mean, that album right now could be a million seller if it was released whenever this stupid thing was made available online. And I would not be counted among those millions. That's the bad part about it. I wouldn't be counted among the millions. People wanted me to review that album, I think, in like July. It's been a long, long time since that album has been made available. And it would have been horrible because it would have just sat there. And the worst part about it would be is that half the times whenever you get leaks like that and things like that, that early, there's a good chance that it's not the real thing. Take a look at what happened with Iron Maiden with the first couple recordings from the Book of Souls. Hell, I fell for one of them earlier this summer. I wondered why the hell I wasn't seeing anything on the Iron Maiden website and stuff like this, but yet something was surfaced and it started to circulate over on Facebook. I was getting all excited, and I even posted something on the Facebook group saying, new Iron Maiden song, we're going to be talking about it today. And then I had to sort of recant my statement, principally because that's just what happens. There's a band out there with a singer that sounds an awful lot like Bruce, and they sound an awful lot like Maiden. It's pretty ridiculous, pretty retarded, and it's amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff. But we're over here talking about Dream Theater in the comments, in the chat. I still love Metropolis too, and that new Dream Theater album, I'm still listening to that every now and again. Someone's asking about the Winery Dogs. The Winery Dogs are freaking awesome. I have their first album somewhere in this mess that I call a collection, as well as some Flying Color stuff. So really the only side project of Mike Portnoy's, or I guess now main project, is that I dislike is the one that he's no longer a part of, and that's Adrenaline Mob. And that was just not a very good idea to begin with, mainly because whenever you hear Mike Portnoy and Russell Allen, you're not thinking about what you get, or what you got, should I say. You're not thinking about that whatsoever. You know, you're thinking about Russell Allen, which we just heard in, you know, Underworld and Symphony X, that we reviewed in late July. If you haven't checked out that review, go look it up. It's well worth it. And you're thinking Mike Portnoy, who is a beast, who is just a drumming phenomenon, a one-man drum show who can do no wrong in the eyes of many people. And that's not what you got whatsoever from it. That is not what you got from it at all. And also, those of you who have not checked out the Book of Souls review, who have not checked out the review for Iron Maiden, the Book of Souls, you should certainly do that. And for those of you who have checked it out, watch it again. This is a huge, huge deal. And here's the thing, even with as huge of a deal as this is, considering we've gotten like 23,000 views over there on that, the Needle Drop has twice that number. And in reality, and I love Anthony to death, I wish no harm to him, principally because he and I are bros, we're boys. But whenever it comes to Iron Maiden, get the fuck out of here. That should be coming this way. Like I said, no ill will toward Swagany Swagtano, to Anthony Bontano, and Cal freaking Kuchesta or Jimmy Chonga. But I remember a long time ago, this is me actually just spilling some CKN secrets, a long time ago I thought about doing a video where I called out Anthony Fantano in the style of a 1990s Attitude Era wrestling promo. And I am now wondering, many, many years it's been years. I'm now wondering many years in the future, why the fuck that never happened. Because it would have been incredible. It would have been amazing. I think this was like in 2011, after the Elid Divinim Insanus review, considering the article that pimped out the album review and got onto a couple of websites, spoke about how the review was constructed and delivered in the style of a wrestling promo, which is a lot. I have inspiration within that, so it was not an untrue statement whatsoever. I do have a lot of motivation and a lot of reference. You know, there's just a tremendous amount of influence that is put within that, and it's right. But yeah, that's something where the views should be over here. They should be on this direction. And I'm not trying to, like I said, I don't want to cut into what Anthony has to offer, because he right now is just killing it. He really is. The man has close to 100 million views, and you know, I think he's at like 500,000 subscribers. I mean, he's just doing really, really awesome. And like, I love watching his work too. That's the thing. You know, there's a big difference. There's a big reason why his Miley Cyrus review has as many views as it does, and why mine only has 5,000. That's because I just fucking recited the words to Turbo Negro Hates the Kids. That's it. That's pretty much the fucking gist of it. And a lot of people were really confused by that, and some of you may still be. So I'm going to try something. This may get this whole thing just unavailable for YouTube, but at this point, fuck it. I'm going to see if I cannot get something on here. Click on add videos to playlist for videos to share. What the fuck does that even mean? Yeah, well, I don't know how exactly that works. Could you guys hear that? Can you hear me now? Uh-oh. Well, that's what I get for trying something. I like the people saying we can't hear you now that people can hear me. Well, that's what I get for trying something. Anyway. So for those of you who are in the chat, I'm going to type it out. So there was an actual reason why I had that LP in the background, which was, by the way, for those of you who haven't been to every one of these streams, somebody sent that album to me, and I thank you for that, Ole, who I don't think is in here. He hasn't been in the last couple. He's probably had a couple of things to do. Love you too, Bob. Baba. My hype for the new Megadeth single, I Am. When is that supposed to drop? Please don't tell me this week. Because if Mustaine does, fucking nuts. Motherfucking stain of society. That would be absolutely ridiculous. Because, yeah. CKN needs to have his ability to have a little bit of break. So the guy, you know, you're saying that Megadeth's years are behind them, and I'm prone to really, I don't want to say agree to that, but I'm prone to see where you're coming from, considering Super Collider was a really, really big letdown, a huge disappointment. I could see Dave maybe, I could see them maybe doing something worthwhile. It's just really, they have to prove a lot to me on this next release in order for me to sort of come back onto the wagon, so to speak. But I'm extremely interested. I'm extremely interested to hear that. 13 was an okay disc. I think I enjoyed 13 a little bit more whenever it came out than I should have. But it was also one of those albums that I didn't go back to very much. Like, that was the one thing, you know, sometimes you can really better talk about a year in metal after you wait a couple of years and see which albums from that previous year you still go back to. And 13 is not one of those albums. 13 is not an album that I return to often. Similarly, with the Book of Souls, I have returned to that album so many times already within the past week or so. Ever since I've been 2 weeks now, as of I think tomorrow. Meanwhile, I did the review for Repentless last week around this time, and I've only maybe revisited the album once ever since then. And I gave it the score that I did because I felt like it had a lot of potential. Like, it was showcasing that things are kind of moving in somewhat the right direction. And the feedback on that has been polarizing, though. You know, there's people that are actually trying to look at it from a fairly decent perspective and offer a really good explanation as to why they think that it's, you know, boring or terrible or really, really good. And then you have the folks that you can tell are just playing off of assumption, and that's all the further that they're going with it. You know, they're disappointed that Slayer didn't decide to release, you know, Rain and Blood 2.0 or maybe Diabolism Musica 2.0 to the one asshole out there that actually loves that album. But it is really just it's just an okay album. You know, that's what it is. It's not a bad album. But it is nothing that's exemplary, as was stated. Yeah, the new Megadeth album is slated to have 15 songs on it. And then, as you also mentioned, Matt, there will also be 2 covers, including a Budgie cover, which I'm really interested in seeing. I think it's Budgie anyway. It's either Budgie or Diamond Head. It's one of those bands. I'm really excited to hear that because, that's roots right there. That's stuff that Mustaine was listening to back around the times whenever he was pounding around with Metallica and things like that. Because think about Garage Incorporated and Garage Days Revisited by Metallica and the bands that were covered on there. Do I like Bring Me the Horizon? I did not care for their new album, which we did cover on this channel. We talked about it. We talked about That's the Spirit. It was an overindulgence in a idea that could have worked, but they went to the well so much with it that they actually screwed themselves out of making a pretty good album. But that's just kind of my thought on that. That's the Spirit might be a grower for a lot of fans. And I expected out of, and this is me being honest, even though Slayer is Slayer and Bring Me the Horizon is Bring Me the Horizon, I expected, based around what I heard from That's the Spirit, I expected that review to be the one that would explode. That would be the one that would have 25,000 views of people that are saying, "You're a fucking moron, this is amazing," and then the other people from the other side saying, "Bring Me the Horizon's fucking dead, this is the stupidest thing they could have ever done, they're commercial pop trash now, yada yada yuts." Maybe I wasn't angry enough. Maybe I had to call it a steaming pile of hippopotamus shit in order for people to actually want to tune in. But that was the one I expected to really be the polarizing, very divided, the one that has the powder keg that would be lit and would explode. Because that album has not only the potential to piss off a lot of people, but it's also one that really isn't even all that good, even within its own experimental right. It does some things right, but not a lot. You were asking about... Would I get Repentless on cassette? No, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. Yes, donate to CKN. Fan funding is a thing, and fan funding is fantastic. It is fantastic. Get it? Oh my god, lol, lamau, raffle. People love me. What the hell is this? Employers are hiring near Uniontown. How near Uniontown are we talking? We're talking the nearby town of Bismarck, North Dakota. That is so near me. That's only like 7 states away. Plus, I don't need a job. Some more Marilyn Manson. I could probably do that right now. I could sum up the man's career, actually, in a couple of sentences, really. Marilyn Manson, as an artist, was pushing boundaries prior to Antichrist Superstar, but it took getting that national attention in order for him to become the supposed villain that mainstream culture in America painted him out to be. Doing the cover of Sweet Dreams was probably one of the smartest decisions of his life, because the song, coupled with the music video, thrust him in the national spotlight, because it was this dark, brooding, sinister, really, really almost scary song, coupled with the music video, and it was being played in massive rotation on MTV and even VH1 and The Box. And The Box is where I remember it the best from, principally because it was being requested all the time. Marilyn Manson had become a star. There was 2 albums that were prior to that. Portrait of an American Family and I think Smells Like Children were the name of the 2 albums. And they had songs such as Get Your Gun and Lunchbox on there, and it already sort of was painting this distorted vision. But Antichrist Superstar was the album that needed to happen. And Manson did everything that he needed to do to showcase himself as a villain that was thinking differently than mainstream American culture. And I'm going to be as blunt as humanly possible with this. He was big before, but Columbine made that man a superstar. Columbine made Marilyn Manson a superstar. Made Rammstein superstars, too. Made Rammstein superstars here in America. Would have happened either way. It would have happened either way. But if you want instant brand recognition in America, you got to do something fucked up. Just going to throw that out there. If I really wanted to become huge, what I need to do is go to Hollywood and find Rihanna. No, Chris Brown already used up her cred. Who the fuck? Who do I need to find? Fuck it. Maybe I don't even need to go to Los Angeles. Maybe I just go to New York, find Beyonce, and fucking take a piss on her. People will know me. And for every one of the people that would come over to Cover Killer Nation to say, I can't believe that you took a pissy on Bay, there would be an equal, if not greater, portion of America and the world that have intelligent thoughts within their skulls that would come by and be like, you're the dude that took a piss on Beyonce? Fucking love you, man. Fucking love you, bro. Fist up, bro. Middle fingers up, bro. Bro. Oh, yeah, Iggy Azalea. That'd probably be even better. But I'm fairly certain most of the world would thank me for that. And I wouldn't piss on Iggy Azalea. I wouldn't even want my piss to touch her. That's the bad part. See, there's a difference between Iggy Azalea and Nicki Minaj. I would let Nicki Minaj gargle on my cock just so I could shove it down her throat so much that it would rupture her vocal cords. With Iggy Azalea, I don't want her anywhere near any part of me. Whether it be the very, very tip of my pee-pee, the very, very tallest hair on the top of my head, the tippy top of my head, or the very final skin follicle that is on my foot, that is the furthest point out on my big toe. In reality, I don't want her in my zip code. And you might wonder, well, then how are you going to take care of her? We have technology, ladies and gentlemen. We have technology. But at any rate, Manson's music can be really described as one man's passion toward artistic freedom and doing everything possible to ensure that that element was not destroyed by a major label, and succeeding half of the time. You said that you really enjoyed the review of Born a Villain. I enjoyed the album, and I enjoyed the album that was that preceded it, principally because both of those discs showed Marilyn Manson as an artist and showed Marilyn Manson making the kind of music that he wanted to make, making the kind of albums that he wanted to make. And these are ones that have been sort of underneath the radar a little bit. They've been very silent in their movement, but they're very solid releases. At times, the others, such as Hollywood, seem exceptionally overindulgent, very overindulgent. And you can tell, and you could even read, that not all of those ideas were his. Not all of those desires were his. At times, he wanted to make something that was just exceptionally inaccessible, either that or just aimed to piss everybody off. But it was no way to live, you know. He is... Howard Stern became Howard Stern because of the time frame, because of when he became Howard Stern. When he became the shock jock, whenever he became the king of all media. Marilyn Manson showcased what it is to be the most hated man in America, the shock jock, the Howard Stern in the late 90s, early 2000s, and what we aim to do to those people, and what Howard Stern himself refused to do. There's your difference. Nita Khan. What do I think of Beach House's Depression Cherry? I'm fucking pissed off that I didn't get to review that because it was awesome. It was really awesome. I love that record. I am in love with that record. I just listened to the Arcs album, which you guys know, if you watch the videos, that I'm a huge Black Keys fan. It has Dan Albarock from the Black Keys in it. Really solid work, too. Really solid work. It includes a member of the Shins and a couple of other blokes, and it's just a really, really good album. And Destroyer has an album that just came out last week that's supposed to be very reminiscent of old school David Bowie. And I'm really hoping to get into a little bit more of that because I've listened to some old. I listened to Kaput by Destroyer, and it was really solid, really good work. I could probably do a whole 10 awesome songs about indie music, but the funny thing is that I would have two sets of commenters. It'd be the people that are exclusively heavy metal, that'd be like, fuck this, go back to talking about metal. And then the people who are actual hipsters that live on YouTube whenever they're supposedly living off the land and going on hikes and stuff, you know, on their phone, they're watching the shit. And they'd be saying, these are mainstream indie bands. That's not what the fuck 10 Awesome Songs is all about. You may not know or remember. You may not know or need to listen to. Doesn't mean that all 10 of them are going to be people that you don't know. I'm not going to pull bands out of my ass. I'm not going to go to the bell tower in some town and discover in fucking Denali, Vermont, which may or may not exist. I don't know. I'm not going to go to their bell tower and all of a sudden discover the next great progressive black metal band entitled We're at a fucking Bell Tower. It's a name in progress, okay? They're just starting work on their demo, but they're incredible. They're incredible. But yeah, Depression Cherry was really cool. I have a copy of Bloom over here somewhere, and I really love that album. I just stepped on something. Can't find the Winery Dogs album, but I can sure as hell find my copy of Beach House's Bloom. Pretty much because that cover is absolutely, it's easy to really tell what it is. But I really like, and you can see it right here. You can see who this band is on. Say what you want about bands like Nirvana and stuff like that, but Sub Pop as a label is fantastic. Sub Pop as a label is fan-freaking-tastic. I remember there was one evening that I was just going through all of the bands that they have on their roster and trying to find stuff from them that I could sample. Because that's how, well, it's not actually how I found Rose Windows, which, another great band. But I found out that they were on Sub Pop, and it kind of made sense why I love them, because Sub Pop's fucking great. And I just realized how much of a fucking dad I look like right now with my white t-shirt, basic standard vanilla t-shirt, and my freaking dad jeans I got. I'm like fucking Bruce Springsteen, only with longer hair and John Lennon sunglasses, and my midriff was probably just exposed. Oh no. I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming. Keyword was. I'm not leaving as of yet. I just want to review through things once more. And I don't know, like I would really like to get to all 13 of these. I really would love to get to all 13 of these albums. And I know that you guys would too, because you guys are fucking nuts. You don't have to do any of the work, you just have to watch it. You just have to watch it. You guys have the easiest job on the planet. I'm proud. It's great. This is your first CKN live? Well, Renato, well, I can't even read. Renato, I am very happy that you made it. Strange One, I'm happy that you made it. Everybody who is brand new to CKN Live, I'm very glad to have you here. I'm glad that you showed up. I'm glad that you were able to make it. I try to do these once a week. I do. Doesn't always work out that way, but I try to. I decided to do this one here because I have a bit of a gap. All the reviews and everything are going to start tomorrow. And I think I know which ones are going to kick tomorrow off. Tomorrow is going to be kicked off with two. We have a 2-for-1 special, okay? And after this, by the way, it's a free-for-all. I don't know what's going to follow up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I got no clue. But tomorrow, I think what will happen is early in the morning, I'm thinking like maybe 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning my time. So we're talking about maybe 16 hours at the maximum from right now, from this moment. We're going to talk about the new My Dying Bride album. We're going to talk about the new My Dying Bride album. That's going to be numero uno. I'm going to try to make it 10 o'clock. That's what I'm going to do. Because after that, about 6 hours later, at 4 p.m. So the first one, the My Dying Bride, will be at 10 a.m. 6 hours later at 4 p.m., we are going to talk about the Black Dahlia murder. So all of you who have been asking me to talk about the songs off of the album, for all of you who want me to talk about the album period, since it's been apparently leaked for millennia. This album was leaked prior to me being conceived. This album was conceived and leaked prior to the band even being born. It was within them the whole entire time. Their genetic material actually possessed the music and the performance, and it was recorded while they were still genetic material within each and every one of their individual fathers' ball sacks. And that leak somehow, and this is how bad it's gotten, that leak has made it. And it's been a long time. That leak was leaked all the way. There was a lot of leaking. Lots of leaks. Lots of leaks. I don't think I've ever reviewed Daylight Dies, but I've heard of them. That's a name I haven't heard in a while, actually. That's a name that I have not heard in a while. Why does it sound so? As Daylight Dies, that's a Killswitch Engage album, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Daylight Dies itself sounds like it's an album by another band as well. There's just a lot out there. There's a lot out there, Nation. There's just a ton. It's really, really fucking good. I don't listen to Eddie Trunk. I've watched the show every so often. Eddie's probably the guy I like the least, because Eddie's a douchebag. I'm a douchebag too. That's why I don't like him, because I fucking hate competition. But no, I've watched the show. Eddie is very knowledgeable, but he gets irritating. That's, I guess, what I'll say. So we're going to talk about My Dying Bride tomorrow, 10 a.m. We're going to talk about the Black Dahlia murder at 4 p.m. This is Monday. This is tomorrow. And then anything beyond that is, as I said, a fucking free-for-all. And here's the worst part about it, Nation. And actually, I say worst because I'm the one making this shit. But for you guys, this is the best part, is that if something ridiculous happens throughout the course of this week, if something insane happens, if freaking Eddie Van Halen decides to commandeer a steamroller and decides to go and smash 7 houses. If Glenn Danzig decides to turn into a vampire, move to Canada, and then shit all over the prime minister, or if Corpse Grinder decides to go to Kentucky, find Kim Davis, punch her in the face, eat off her nose, and then shit it down her belly button, I've got to talk about it. I've got to adjust my schedule and talk about that. And I will. That is my sincerest promise to you. I didn't do a CKN Reacts to the Cynic debacle because even though I could have, 2 things were really the case. First of all, I was out of town. So it would have been done in the style of the Kim Davis video where it would have been very guerrilla. And I know a lot of you talked about hold the camera the other way, blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't have really mattered. The quality would have been very poor. I would have looked like I was 500 pounds because it makes me look very broad-shouldered and barrel-chested. I need to get a new phone, and I'm planning on doing that sometime this week, too. But for what it was worth, I thought the Kim Davis thing turned out pretty well. And secondly, I wasn't really too sure how to react to this. It would have been one thing for me just to get on camera and say, stop being a bunch of 12-year-old fucking girls and get your shit together. But that doesn't, and basically just putting on camera and putting, putting it out there, the words that people want to scream at these articles and don't have a medium. And me just screaming them on camera isn't going to cause any good either. In fact, if anything, it may make us more enemies. So that was a situation where I kind of just opted to step around it. Because Cynic needs to sort of figure out what they're doing, which hard to tell. But yeah. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, what do I think between the old Opeth and the new Opeth? I love all Opeth. I love all Opeth. If I were the reviewer I was 3 years ago, I would have made a video just talking about the fact that now, in late October, you will be able to purchase, you'll be able to procure at your local CD store or online Deliverance and Damnation together in one pack. Which is not surprising to me because I remember also that there was a 3-pack of Opeth albums called Candlelight Years that you could have purchased. And I wish to fucking hell that I would have. I should have. Because it's just a rare thing. It's, a really neat little collectible, but I didn't. So I'm kicking myself for that now because I think it's out of print. But whatever. It's whatever, man. But yeah, there's a lot of things for us to talk about this week. So what I will say whenever it comes to scheduling is that I'm going to do my best in videos to try to steer you in the right direction. And if I don't have any information, say by 4 o'clock tomorrow, whenever we release the Black Dahlia Murders, that album review, then the Facebook page is going to be the best of guides, because I will no doubt be uploading or updating that insanely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys being here. I really do. I'm so glad that all of you guys came out here on a Sunday and hung out with me for a little bit. I think that's really, really cool. Hung out for an hour or so like usual. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Before I do go, I keep doing this. You guys just keep reeling me in because I just love to help you guys. Ivan Morales, you saw Aborted Gormageddon at your record store? Fuck yes, get it immediately. To Bid You Farewell is probably the track you play the most. It's probably because it's one of the best Opeth tracks, period. It's just beautiful. It is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. stop back tomorrow because we're gonna have 2 album reviews. You're gonna want to watch both of them because the My Dying Bride I've listened to. It's fucking awesome. It's gonna get a really cool review that you're gonna want to see. And then the Black Dahlia Murder. We've only been waiting for months for this, so you're gonna want to stick around. Make these numbers explode, guys. Share them to everybody. And of course, fan funding is a thing, as one person mentioned earlier. Anything that you give is fucking incredible, and I'll kiss your sister if she's freaking cute, man. That's what's up. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. I'm out. Peace.